Hey, it's Betsy. I wanted to take you behind the scenes of a really exciting innovation to how I do my brand messaging and positioning that I discovered through helping Katie Anderson work through her positioning of her Japan Leadership Immersion programs. So, Katie was on my podcast this week. It was such a wonderful conversation, but there was this one part of the process that I didn't really get to. So, I wanted to give you more of a behind the scenes look. So, here's the situation, here's the context. So I was working with Katie on her Japan experiences because she knew she was creating incredible value for the people who went on the trips. They were coming back with these huge transformation stories, but the way she was framing everything up on the website, and especially even in the testimonials, it just wasn't reflected. So what we decided to do was a more strategic approach to getting to the messaging. So I tapped into my wordsmithing gifts for sure, but I also tapped into my qualitative research side from all of my years as an OD consultant. So let me tell you step by step what we did. And then I'm going to show you screen wise what that looks like and then give you the invitation to go check out Katie's Leadership Immersion program page yourself. So, what we did first is we started with a better survey. So if you want good feedback at the end of an experience, you need to ask better questions that rather than like, how was it? Did you enjoy it? What did you learn? You really need to capture the client's transformation journey. So that's what we did is it created questions that would take them from like, what was the context that motivated you to go or even just be interested on this type of trip? Why Japan? Why Katie? What was it that you got in terms of the impact and the outcome? And how is this program different? So we got that whole story together. And then this is where the magic happened. So what I did is I took all of that information. So for each of the participants, I turned it into a case study itself. And then I turned that into a testimonial. So that gave so much insight. That project in itself is totally worth it. Like you want to have benefit driven testimonials. I have a whole podcast on the differences between benefit driven testimonials and like recommendations or endorsements. So you definitely want that. But then I decided to analyze it and use that data to help drive the copy and the strategic positioning of the Japan experience. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see this firsthand what I redid. Wait, hold on. So I did what a lot of us do. So if you've done any qualitative research, you're looking for themes. And so what a theme is if two or more people say the exact same thing. And so what I was looking for was what people were in pain about before going on the Japan trip. And bottom line, what I started to discover is they were in a rut. So this is how I captured this information. So I also identified that there are three very different audiences who go on this trip. So there's the lean practitioners, the external consultants, and the intact teams. So for the lean practitioners, their struggle is like, how is lean perceived and practiced, and that they're frustrated because it's just not sustaining and the impact to their passion. That was what was driving them. For operations executives, it was similar, but very different in terms of their approach to leadership and performance excellence. It's almost like what we've done, in the West just isn't enough. And the operations executives is there was the suspicion that if we are working on production outputs and the numbers and it's just not enough. So that was the context. Then I working through the data to find out why did people go to Japan itself. And part of it is the birthplace of Lean and Toyota. Also wanting to break out of the Western American lens. This is where things started getting really powerful when I'm going through these surveys. Like this is where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so emotional. Like, why am I having such an emotional reaction to these surveys? And then for Katie, why did they pick her over other trips? It was her book, her philosophy about people, her relationship with Mr. Yoshino, but it was more than that. It's because Katie provides not just a study trip, but this overall comprehensive experience. And that I started seeing over and over and over again. And that's when everything became clear that this was a holistic learning and cultural immersion experiences that brought the theories and principles of lean to life. And that's the game changer. So what I started to see through this was that she accelerated this transformation like nothing else. So they love her curriculum, the cultural immersion experiences, the arrangements, the networking, the relationship, but what they got out of it. So this is where the value comes in. they got the re-energized passion for the lean practitioners. So they came in with like, kind of feel like I'm in a right now, I'm in a different place. For the leaders, they became more of this effective people first leader. So for the leaders who came, they started to see that, what, there's another way, that if I focus on getting results through people, I can get all the quality that I want and the engagement that I want, and I can get there faster. That was the key about going with Katie, is that this transformation that might have taken years took a matter of a week. That's where some of the ROI came from. And from an intact team perspective, is that this isn't on this particular document, but what people were saying from the intact teams, I captured that elsewhere, was that as a team, we have relationships that are forged at a deeper level like nothing else. But the key themes that kept coming up is that the gap is that it's just the tools and approach. So I want to go to Japan and see something else. I want to go with Katie because it's this holistic experience. But when it all comes together, it accelerates the transformation. So now we have all this information, all this intel. And so what did we do with that? So this insight is great. And what we did is we used that to structure her Japan trip. We changed the name. It's no longer a Japan study trip. It's a Japan Leadership Immersion experience. It's a leadership immersion experience. And then we use this information to structure the website. But on top of that, I swipe copy, so I use some of the words that I gathered from all of those surveys right on the sales page. So, and then of course we have more of the benefit driven testimonials on there, but the real value here of using this type of process is really getting clarity on what is in the heads of your clients. What are they thinking? And using the words. So great copy isn't like you finding your voice. It's you hacking into the heads of the people that you are really trying to attract. And you want them to say, oh my gosh, you're reading my mind. So I'd love for you to check out Katie's sales page on her website for the Japan Leadership Immersion experience. And let me know if you are a lean person, if you are feeling at all this desire to go to Japan at any point in time or go with Katie, does this resonate with you? Did we get the right messages that really speak to where you're at? And if you're somebody who really wants to accelerate your ability to get the right words, the right positioning, this is the way to do it. So I have completely transformed my approach to how I help my clients is, yes, we still go through the process of identifying the ideal client. I used to put the market scan and getting some of this data later in the process, and I brought it right up to the front because we can fast track this with greater clarity and we get the great words. And on top of that, you get the confidence. So when Katie is looking at her pricing, she's not struggling with like, I wonder if there's huge ROI. I wonder if there's value. Like we were able to quantify it. So that's it for the behind the scenes look. I'd love to get your feedback on all of this. And if you are somebody who is interested at all on a transformational experience, I'm not a lean person and I want to go to the birthplace of lean. I'm an OD girl and I want to go to the birthplace of lean because it's so powerful. I have never had such a reaction to doing what seems like an analytical exercise. So anyway, I'm gonna stop endorsing at this point and stop pushing, and I'm just gonna let you go over and check it out and let me know what you think.